Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday. It's Touring Car Tuesday. We are at Brands Hatch. You got myself, James Salt, and Tom McMahon. Are you there?
I am here, Mr. Salt. Good evening, all.
How are you doing? How was your day?
Yeah, very well.
Good.
Looking forward to some Touring Car Tuesday. Love Brands Hatch. Love Brands Hatch Indy. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the touring cars belong here. Speaking as a British Touring Car Championship fan, yeah, it feels like they belong here, and it's only a short lap, so I think it's going to be intense. I think if you can survive lap 1 as well, it should be an incredibly close battle. Noticing a lot of Brits, Tom, in the standings board at the moment, which is kind of no surprise, I guess.
Us Brits, we love our brands, we love our touring cars, and I think it's the theme of iRacing, isn't it? Whenever it does seem to participation drops a little bit, but we've got a nice 20-car grid, and propped up by most of the Brits. Johnny Reinhard nips in ahead by 0.04 of a second for pole, which is good to see. Field today, ladies and gentlemen, is 1.9k, so it's a little bit lower for top split, but that shouldn't stop some cracking racing unfolding here tonight.
And who's your money on, do you think, Tom?
Who's my money on?
I mean, looking at iRating, who have we got? Who's the highest iRated driver in this then?
Johnny Brandon is 100. So smart money would be, but I'm going to go a little bit left field, and I'm going to go for, he's in the pits, and I'm going to go for Steve.
Steve Lavelle.
Yes. Only because, no real reason, actually. He's got a 4,200 iRating. I didn't want to pick the number 1 seed. I didn't want to pick the number 2 seed, which I have picked, actually. I thought Steve's was 3. But yeah, I just thought, let's go for him. Who's your money on, Mr. Salt?
Well, my money... Well, you were speaking to a certain Rob Baker before this. Rob, we know, is fond of touring cars. He's raced in the 3 races, or well, the 2 races we've commentated on so far. You had a conversation with Rob about a livery. Rob's running an Evo SR livery, but not the right livery. Is that right?
He's in the pit somewhere. He put down a 49.4. I think that was his first lap.
I wonder if he off-tracked on the second lap. So we'll have to wait and see for that special livery that Rob Baker's running for us.
That spectacle to enjoy. I believe that is the grid done and dusted. All drivers have done their laps. We're now just in this weird time because it's only a 48. So we're waiting for the time to kind of run down. So we're just watching Jack Wilkins get a little bit of extra practice in because he's the only person out there. 30 minutes of less than a minute lap. So we're probably looking at 35 laps. So lots of action, 20-car grid.
Well, turn 1 on cold tyres and going into Druids turn 2 is going to be interesting. It's not a long run down to that turn 1, is it? So it's, if anything, I think you can probably hold that line if you start well, if you're Richard Hebel. But I'm really interested to see how the guys navigate this opening lap. I think it's going to be... I mean, we've got a full 20 cars as well, I think is the most we've seen in these sessions on a Wednesday night.
It's definitely up there. I think it's the first time that we've had at least just the one split. So
the full grid, yeah.
So yeah, it should be a cracker. We've got a few people who didn't get their laps in at all. So Andreas Moore, he's the number 9 car. He'll be starting near the back. A shout out to Harold Gottsacker the 4th, because he's the number 20 car. He's qualified P10, so brilliant, and he's also got a 447 iRating. So if he finishes there, he's on for 71 iRating. I'll give him a round of applause at the end of the race.
Only a 400 iRating. Wow. Okay. So yeah, he's on to gain big in this one.
Yeah.
What was going? So we're going to say as well. I mean, this is the third time we've commentated on this touring car series. There's not. I mean, we've got a couple of familiar names. I know Rob Baker, obviously, but I think beyond that, Neil Stephenson's also a name that I do recognise. But yeah, I mean, this series, you know, it's maintaining a good number of I guess. Dedicated races, isn't it? But it's not one where, you know, we're seeing the hundreds that you get in IMSA and you know VRS. But
No.
it seems to have the die-hard sort of stick to, and also with the GT4 car coming as well. I understand there's some multi-class racing that's going to be coming to iRacing, which contains this car as well as GT4s. Is that right? Is that
Yeah,
have I heard that right?
Yeah, no, you've heard that right. It should be coming to the IMSA Mission Pilot Challenge.
Well, Tom, last week I said you're going to do the deeds of calling the grid, so I'm going to leave that to you. Go ahead.
So here we go. So on pole, Reinhard Heibel with a 48.409 second lap time ahead of Johnny Brandon. Tom Bridle in P3 ahead of Steve Leverley in P4. On the third row of the grid, we've got Jonathan Brown and Dylan Freckleton. Craig Yorney and Evo SR's Rob Baker on row number 4. In P9, Alvaro Marilla alongside Harold Gottsack at the 4th. Jack Wilkins and Jack Blandon are 11th and 12th. Let's do the full grid while we wait. Michael Wilcox in 13th. Kim Jakobsen 14th. P15, Chris M. Howard alongside Neil Stevenson, Jeffrey Katunda and Andreas Moore 17 and 18. 19 and 20th is Tobias Tonenson, and Ryan J. Sharp brings up the back of the field.
And that is your grid for this TCR race around Brands Hatch Indy. Dominated by Brits, which is unsurprising there. But there's a couple of folks from Sweden. Obviously, Reinhard is not a native Brit. I mean, he's representing the. Where's he from actually? Is it Germany or what is that flag that it shows?
It's Germany and Austria.
Ah, okay, okay.
Is like Iberia categorises Spain and Portugal.
Got it.
I believe that is, and it's showing Ryan Sharp has already crashed on my timing here, so that's doesn't bode too well. But a very, very short formation lap. Tyres will be cold because of how short it will be, which is going to make it even more exciting. In the background, there's that stunning Evo SR special livery.
I was going to say let's spend a good 10 seconds just having a look at that car and explaining that we think Rob's actually loaded the Audi R8 livery onto this A3 livery. You know,
there it is.
So good job there. Still getting to grips with trading paints clearly, and still not really knowing his cars. But yeah, we'll forgive him. We've kind of got an Evo SR car there. As we watch Reinhard Heibel, he's definitely put his foot down and he's led Johnny Brandon over the start finish. Clean as you like for this opening part over the start finish into turn 1. Do we see anyone sending the car down the inside? All clean for the top 10 cars, you could say. Still clean as Steve Lavell's going around the outside. Tom Bridle there putting a defensive line together to keep it hugging that inside of Druids.
Good, and yeah, Reinhard's got away really, really nicely. Jonathan, and here comes Rob, and this is what we've already predicted. Rob down the inside, trying to make up another place. Rob's already up one place. That probably won't work, so they'll go into single file, and that already is one lap. There's a few skids. That was Rob getting a little bit out, but a really nice start from Reinhard.
Reinhard leading the cars, and we didn't see anyone off the track, did we? We didn't see any crashes or anything like that, which is good. So the car's still together. Well, Reinhard's half a second, although Johnny Brandon doing a good job to keep that below half a second, closing in on him into Druids hairpin. And we're watching, this is Tom Bridle, who's defending now, and he's got the inside line, so he should be able to cover off from Steve Lavelle, who's got a better exit, and he's going to end up pushing. I think at this point Tom's a little bit slower than the guys behind, and Jonathan Brown's also in the mix as well.
Yeah, and we've got
it's a small mistake then.
Yeah,
Tom.
There's a little bit of TCR action. There's another little bit of this.
Nope. Someone getting all out
Oh
of
my
shape
word.
then, and Rob Baker's capitalised on these, folks. Rob Baker looks like he's put the livery on himself.
Here he is, down his paddock. Is Rob going to have a look? That's a brave move. Is that from Dylan trying to go around the outside? Dylan's going to run out of room. Rob down the inside, heading up towards Druids, up into P5. I make that very unionistic. Took his time and has already moved up 2 spots. Now Jonathan Matthew Brown is ahead. Ah, Harold Godsacker is into the pits. That is heartbreak.
I wonder why that was. He had an off track, I saw, but interesting. As I'm still watching Rob, do we hear someone going very wide at the back there?
Craig Yorney just went back to try and bring you a quick.
Yeah.
Brief.
Craig getting all out of shape there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I guess it took a little bit too much time, too much speed in to the final.
And we've got, what's going on here? We've got cars facing the wrong way. We've got a couple of cars at the back that are struggling to get back on track. And this is Kim Jakobsen.
It's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
Craig spooked them, and everyone has piled in. That is some pretty poor driving.
Well, we had five or six cars involved with that, didn't we?
Back to the front, there's an opportunity for some more people. So someone like Ryan Sharp has moved up 7 places, Andreas Moore up 6 places. Top 2 have made... and although it's a really short lap, it's quite a tricky track to actually overtake on when you're to another car. Unless they make a mistake, it's quite easy to defend. And we've already seen it's quite hard to actually go round the outside into paddock.
Well, Johnny Brandon's doing a good job of staying with Reinhard. He's been less than half a second for these opening 5 laps. 5 laps already. I mean, it's a 30-minute race, but it's a lap time of less than a minute. So there's going to be plenty of laps in this one. Rob Baker, Dylan Freckleton. He's closed in on Rob, I think, or this group of cars actually have been racing over there for a good couple of laps now. Rob's doing a good job of soaking up the pressure, although did Dylan get a better exit there? I think he did. This is a good opportunity for Dylan to have a look for 5th place, currently occupied by Rob Baker, although Rob's gone defensive. So go down the hill now. Rob getting a good exit there. He's probably going to move to the right. He is. Dylan's left, searching for answers to try and get around Rob, but now we've got Steve Lavelle in the mix as well, who's cheekily looking down the inside there, but I think Dylan's going to cover him off there. So, yeah. Although Rob again getting a really bad exit. Let's see if we can keep these guys behind for another lap as we come to complete lap 6. And we saw last time Dylan having a much better drive out of there, didn't we? Although further ahead, is that position? It is.
Yeah, we got Jonathan down the inside into paddock. Going to swap back to Tom. He's going to go for a cutback. And he's got it. Yeah, he's going to have the inside now for Druids. Great TCR racing. Jonathan Brown with a 48.5 was actually fastest lap of the race. But all of this side-by-side action always bunches everyone up together. It will slow the guys down, so that should give Rob an opportunity to get back. We've had another crash in the background on the live timing, which I'll try and give you a replay of, but this is brilliant side-by-side action. Tom and Jonathan showing how it is done. Oh! That's the curse. If ever I'm going to say something, and Rob is going to probably sweep round. And so Jonathan gets away, and we'll try.
Although now it's a 4-car sort of, pack as they head over the line into turn 1. On board with Steve, who's waiting patiently.
Oh,
Steve,
who's that?
Who was that? I think was that a back marker?
Yeah, that was a back marker.
Oh, that was contact. That was Tom Brunel, wasn't it?
Oh, it's Rob.
What's Rob doing on his own? I think Rob's just made an unforced error there. We need to have a look back at that. Rob Baker crashed. Oh, did.
So I think Rob is going to touch the grass. Oh no, they're going to hit him.
Oh wow!
Oh,
that is.
No.
Oh, but Rob's kept it going, and the car doesn't look damaged, which is good. Rob rejoining. And I think that is a back marker. That's not a car that we've seen in the mix, is it, behind Rob at this point? Still on replay, bear in mind. So
yeah, I just want to go back to.
So where did they? But Rob's still running 5th, is he?
Yeah, that is space that wasn't there.
Yeah, well, actually, was that Tom Bridle that we saw making that move, or was it Dylan? That
Yeah, it was Tom and back to the live action.
Back to live.
So Rob, in all of that, he is still P5.
But he's now in a bit of no man's land with.
Yes. Oh, we've had a change for the lead. We've had a change for the lead.
So Johnny Brandon did get past. Oh, that was a mistake then.
Yeah.
From
Reinhard.
From Reinhard, yeah.
Uh,
but not enough to. I was going to say not enough to. I mean, he's still less than a second, so he can close back in using the toe.
Yep, and
clearly,
believe it or not, I wasn't something that kind of occurred to me. There will be obviously lap traffic. Already the field is quite spread out, so they will catch people in unfortunate places.
Still 19 cars running as well. Only Harold Gottsacker, the 5th or the 6th.
Harold.
Who's not done his 400 I rating any good, has he?
No, he has not. And so Andreas Moore up 10 spots now. Make that 11 as he blasts past Michael Wilcox up to 7th. So we'll just have a little rundown of the last lap time. So you can see the two leaders: 48.6, 48.7, 48.6, 48.8, 48.9, 49.0 for Dylan Freckleton, and then back into the 50. So yeah, race paces for up at the top. You're looking for sort of mid 48s, low to high 48s, low 49s.
I thought that was Andreas making a move then, but that is
no,
a
this
marker, isn't it?
Yeah, this orange car. Who is
Chris Howard?
Yes.
Oh, Jeffrey.
Yes. No, it's Jeffrey. Jeffrey Kachunda in this orange.
I mean, he's doing a good job of getting out of the way, to be honest. So
just needs to try and get. There's been another. That's
not Tom again, is it? No.
Yeah, it is.
Tom Bridle down 8 places. He qualified top 5, didn't he? I can't remember. Where did Tom start? He was. I mean, he's down 11.
Just made his own mistake.
Just made a clean race for Tom, and he's been chasing himself as well. I think he's made some mistakes, and he's seen a bit of red mist, hasn't he? He started 3rd. Yeah, I think he's seen a bit of red mist and trying to make up for it. Rob Baker up 3 positions in 5th. We obviously saw that crash a few laps ago. It looks like his car's been in a crash, in fact, because the car livery looks absolutely atrocious. And Rob's just playing with the oversteer. He made that look quite good, actually.
It looks like Rob's been through a drunken painter's shop.
Yeah.
He's given them a blueprint and they've just sprayed something.
Yeah, it looks pretty crap, to be honest, but we'll forgive him. Next week he might actually get the right livery on the right car. Richard Heibel, I mean, he's nearly a second. He's just over a second now, so, and you could argue that Johnny's got a little bit better pace because he was certainly able to keep with Reinhardt. Is this a move?
Yes, Andreas the big mover. Just made a little mistake though to let Michael Wilcox back through. This is the closest battle on track, so we'll stick with them. Andreas heading towards Surtees, I believe, is this little left kink. And this doesn't look like it could end well. That's a long way round. But he might get some nice drive off the turn.
Yeah.
And
Michael's gonna still have the inside line, surely, to be able to defend. I think Andreas is quicker at this point as well. So it's probably only a matter of time, and we do see...
Cut back. No.
Oh, that's
he's
contact.
Flying.
Oh, and that allows Jack... Is it Jack?
Chris.
No, Chris Howard.
Although, Michael, this is good TCR action, because Andreas is now probably going to nip back through. No. Chris Howard holds the position. You'd definitely say Andreas is the quickest of the bunch.
Yeah, now he's at the back.
but just made a little mistake, and that's when the cars stay close together. One mistake, and he's lost himself 2 positions. Jonathan Brown is showing some really good
quickest
pace.
lap yet. Yeah.
And that's no toe. So, and we've still got 19 minutes to go. There's only 11 minutes has gone, so a lot can still happen.
Well, we've seen a lot already. Let's hope they can continue to provide the entertainment as we watch Andreas up 9 already. That was he made that look good.
Yeah, he threw that in there. Great slide.
Probably
Maybe
not the quickest line.
No.
Yeah, the quickest way, but still look good. At this point, Michael Wilcox is kind of making a bit of a break for it. Although we're watching Andreas, I don't know if he's getting dropped.
Yeah. After me singing his praises of being the quickest, he's been absolutely dropped. Chris Howard now is up 7. Michael Wilcox up 6. Even after that unfortunate crash, there was none of his fault at all. Rob Baker up 3 spots.
Andreas is still the biggest mover, isn't he? And
yeah,
actually,
he's now going
Michael
backwards.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Tom Bridle making his comeback, trying to charge back through the field. He's had a bit of a torrid race so far.
I mean, we know he's quick because he qualified on 3rd,
Yep.
but he's just not been able to have a clean race, has he? I think he's made his own mistakes as well as been involved in or starting others.
Yes, very true. So I would say for Tom, his goal right now, if I was in the cockpit, would be to get to P7. You've got Dylan Freckleton in P6, who's about 9 seconds up the road. That's quite a lot of time to make up on such a short track. But Michael only about 3 seconds up the road. So that's something to look out for.
And a 48.9 for Rob and a 48.7 was it for Dylan? Yes. So 2 tenths quicker. 49.1, 49.4 and a 48.9, so Andreas Moore showing a little bit more pace at this point, so he has closed that gap. He had a couple of laps where he was slower, but seems to have got it together now, and he's closing that gap on Howard, running all the way wide there, taking all the track that he can.
Just a little something to keep an eye out, the gap's at about 2 seconds, is Jonathan Brown closing in on all of this traffic. That got me very excited. But on Reinhard, he's taken 3/10 a lap for the last 2 laps. I've been watching it carefully. And so that's the battle for P2 is definitely not over. So Reinhard needs to probably start looking in his mirrors because it seems like really good qualifying pace. But his race pace, that one little error that we saw at this very corner, and he's made another one there, he's gone a little bit wide. Gap down to 1.2 seconds now.
Let's have a look as they cross the line. The lap times. We've got Reinhard. Sorry, that was Johnny Brandon crossing the line. 49.2 for Reinhard and a 48, so half a second. Jonathan Brown in P3, closing that gap on Reinhard in 2nd place. As Johnny Brandon, almost 2 seconds now, so unless he puts a foot wrong, I think our seed number 1 driver is going to take the win, but there's not even halfway there yet, as we... there we are, we're just over halfway, sorry.
See if Reinhard is going to get held up.
Oh, this is not good for him.
No, that's definitely going to have held him up. And Jonathan is now right on his tail, heading across the start-finish straight.
So we are now watching the battle for 2nd and 3rd position. Jonathan Brown being the quicker car of the last few laps. He chased down Reinhard Heibel, our seed number 3 driver. This is our seed number 4 driver. As they head out of turn 1 down the hill. Is this an opportunity? Not this time. So head out of Druids, down the hill. And this is 0.2, so we could see a move for 2nd place.
There's a car off, that was Jeffrey Katunda spinning off to the left.
Nice onboard footage there by our Tom McMahon cameraman and co-commentator.
And we've just had a quick change of position. I will come back to it. Andreas Moore has been passed by Tom Bridle. So Tom making his move back up the field. But this is really, really close. We're going to head into paddock. On board we go. And Jonathan Brown
I mean, that
is
was...
going to make that stick.
Oh, he has washed across the circuit. I mean, is Reinhard going to... It's almost like he didn't
Job done.
He almost invited him through there.
Yeah. Just didn't close the door.
No.
Either he's happy with P3, but I wouldn't be if I started on pole. Yeah, that was a strange bit of defence. I just want to go, as promised. Here's Tom's move up the inside of Andreas into Druids. And fairly clean. I think he's going to go... Yep.
I think they both went a little bit deep then, to be honest,
Yeah,
which I think gave each other the space that they needed.
Gonna hold that, and then another replay, and this is what we were watching. Jonathan just down the inside, and I don't... That's strange. That's really strange.
Like you said, it's almost like Reinhard was just happy to take third and not put up any sort of a fight. I mean, fourth place, Steve Lebel, is quite a few seconds behind. So it's probably worth battling, wasn't it, for a good, 2 or 3 laps?
Yeah, I definitely would have. We've got Tom and Andreas still battling it out, still with their sights set on Michael Wilcox and Chris Howard. Tom's got a really nice run here. He's probably going to send that down the inside.
We've seen Tom do this before. Can he get it stopped?
That was a very willing party from...
Howard's going to have... Yeah, I mean, Howard's got the inside line covered here, but obviously sets him up for a weaker exit. Tom Bridle, lovely cut back there, but can Howard keep it on the inside?
Michael.
Is it Michael? Sorry, yeah.
But
Michael Wilcox.
Chris
Howard's further up the road, sorry.
They did swap, though. It was Chris Howard, but then I think Michael must have made a little mistake. But nice racing, good racing again. So that sets Tom back up to P8. Now chasing after Chris Howard for P. So stop making mistakes, Tom. I'm trying to praise you.
What is he doing? He's throwing everything. He's gaining stuff and then throwing it away again as quickly as he got it.
I mean, yeah, holy moly. Let's flip back on board. Just does not trouble the apex at all. And there goes 2 positions, just like that. But
Rob Baker and Dylan.
Yes,
Dylan closed the gap on
Dylan
Rob.
has closed in by 4/10 on that last lap.
Yeah.
So we'll switch to them in a second. We'll just see if anything occurs heading down into paddock. We've got a lap car getting out the way, which is very, very responsible of them. Michael Wilcox in P8, P9 Andreas Moore, P10 Tom Bridle throws it down paddock. It was a great turn. I love that corner.
He actually made it this time.
And it always helps. So just holding station. There's still... It's definitely... Michael Wilcox, I think, now is lacking pace. You'd say Andreas is probably a little bit slower than Tom.
I don't think Michael's not put a foot wrong, really.
No,
I think he's definitely consistent. You're right, he's probably not the quickest guy lap for lap. As I say, does he go a little bit wide there to finish off this lap? I think he did, and that set up Andreas, isn't it, for a potential move down the inside with Tom Bridle. Let's see if Tom can make this corner stick, whereas we saw him go wide 2 laps ago. That's better this time. He's actually got a good run, and he'll should be able to make this move stick on Andreas. He has done. Andreas accepts that. Can he get a better exit? I think they're going to form a bit of formation there. And again, here we go. So Rob Baker up 3 positions, now under pressure from Dylan Freckleton, who's started 6th and still 6th. But I think this gap's been coming down for quite a few laps now, isn't it? I mean, we're into the last third of this race. Rob contending with a bit of...
really good run.
He's got Wilkins in front of him, hasn't he? Who's currently in 70. Oh, that is... Was he aiming for a late apex then, or was that just...
I think
who knows?
Rob aimed for the apex under braking. It wasn't like a move under braking. It was just I'm going to the inside. And it kind of caught. I think Dylan was probably eyeing up a move, and just got caught out a little bit. No harm. All is good. 8.5 minutes to go, and this plus Andreas Moore is down the inside of Michael Wilcox, and Tom Bridle has actually passed them as well. So let's see if Tom can actually make his way up towards Chris Howard. But heading right back to the closest battle and maybe more meaningful battle for P5.
Rob Baker there, keeping Dylan Freckleton at bay for the last lap. Dylan, yeah, I think Dylan's potentially the quicker and maybe the more consistent. I don't think we've seen Dylan make too many mistakes so far, but we saw Dylan at the early part of the race in that trio of cars, which I think caused quite a bit of carnage, where we saw 5 or 6 cars all face the wrong way at one point. But he survived that clearly, and Rob did as well, obviously. So they're going to complete lap 28. Dylan not close enough this time. He's 0.3, so he's getting there. If he has a clean turn 1 down the hill to go. Oh, that's a nice turn 1, using all the track that he could. But Rob also driving well, so he's doing everything that he needs to do. Again, the car looking pretty awful, but that's what you get for running the wrong livery on the wrong car, or the right livery on the wrong car.
Oh, and flicking back, Tom sending it up the inside. Can Chris hold it round the outside? That's a long way round. And so Tom Bridle up to 7th. So down 4 overall. He is into positive I rating. Prediction of +20 for Tom. Biggest prediction for I rating at the moment is this man, Jonathan Matthew Brown, predicted to get +49 I rating for getting his P2 up 3 spots.
Did we cover the strength of field for this session, was it?
Yes, it's 1.9k.
Okay. Whereas last week's I think it was 2.3, wasn't it?
Yeah, so a little bit on the low side. Not meaning to beat up, but when you do get a driver as of Harold's standards of 447, it will always bring the strength of field down, regardless of that. And Kim Jakobsen actually as well. Again, not meaning to name and shame, but with a I rating of under 1,000. So those two will always bring the overall SOF
Dragging
down.
everyone down, guys. You've got to get a move on, get above that 1,000.
I did not say that. However, Rob is going to have to go defensive here.
Oh.
And he's not.
Sends a dummy at this Dylan. Can Dylan make it stick? I mean, he's certainly got... Oh, I mean, that's close.
Rob will cut him off now. Yep. I was surprised Rob left that door open there, but he carried better momentum down the hill.
Wait, it's a battle for basically the top 5. The last remaining position of the top 5.
Let's go on board with Dylan. Let's see, get into the driver's eye. Let's see if he can line it up. See where Rob's a little bit slow. That was twitchy from Rob. So Dylan probably short shifts to 4th, I would imagine. So he doesn't understeer too wide.
Yeah, there it is. They actually got a good drive out of there. It didn't look like too much understeer.
No, and now Rob definitely is going defensive, but will probably move to the left now because he knows that Dylan is a little bit far away. Both taking a slightly different line. I'd say Rob with a later apex. Neither is kind of wrong or right. There are different lines through paddock. Druids, I've always gone for the hug the apex. Some people try and veer it off. I always think just take the shortest radius around the corner.
Rob running a bit wide there on not connecting with the apex, was he, on the left-hander? But he's done enough. He's actually opened the gap to 0.4. It was 0.3, so he's pulled a 10th, but that's now gone because he's now back to 0.2.
Yeah, I was going to say for Graham Hill, the left-hand turn 3, you can use a lot of runoff in iRacing. Rob will stay defensive.
Oh,
We've got a little bit of moving going on. Has Rob been put off? No.
Holds it really well. Yeah, he's kept it cool.
So I think Rob is good in this little section of the track. Maybe a little bit better than Dylan, but Dylan seems to take so much speed through 30s into the final corner.
Yeah, he does. You're right, and that's again. I just feel like the drivers could take more apex on the inside, but maybe that's me.
Here comes Dylan again.
Yeah, this is where we've seen Dylan just again. Look, really closes that gap, doesn't he? But then
nearly gave him a bump and run tactic.
Yeah,
but
Rob's got a good exit.
Yeah, accordion effect. He'll always get on the power that slight bit earlier. And is going to hold defensive. Now we'll move across because he knows that Dylan is nowhere to be seen. Completes another lap. Just a quick update. Johnny Brandon, 2.5 seconds clear of Jonathan Brown. This is looking closer. Just trying to do that.
Well, this has been what, 4 or 5 laps of repeated attempts and stuff like that. But ultimately, both drivers are racing cleanly. Rob's making a couple of moves into turn 1, but I don't think anything untoward or questionable. I think he's above board at this point, and Dylan's racing well, and he just can't get past as we head into the last 3 minutes. So probably what, 4 laps total, if not 3.
Yeah, something like that. I was going to say, because the one time that Dylan did get his car alongside, they had great side-by-side racing. So Rob only moves back to the racing line when he knows Dylan isn't alongside him at all. So no, absolutely, he's not moving under braking. They're both racing very cleanly.
I'm sure Dylan knows that the opportunities are diminishing as the time goes on. So it could be a last lap lunge. Also the pressure getting to Rob potentially. We've only a couple of minutes left. Have to wait and see. Although Rob's pulled a lovely, I say a lovely, it's 0.6, which feels like an eternity from considering we've been watching them about 0.2. But we know Dylan's quick through this last section. And Rob actually running slightly wide there, but 0.4. So actually this is the biggest gap we've seen for about 4 laps, actually probably longer. 0.3. So actually it's a strong toe, isn't it, round? Yeah. Closing in, 0.2. We've got the gap. Still not enough, in my opinion, to I'm going to say to have a look.
Send it.
Yeah, to send it, basically, yeah. It's all about the exit, isn't it? Out of turn 1, down the hill. You've got to hope that basically the guy in front of you, in this case Rob, has a sloppy corner, a sloppy exit, and capitalise on that. But he's doing a good job, is Rob.
Yeah, you can do quite a lot out of Graham Hill into the final corner. I think you can, if you get a good run there, you can put them off their line, which that in turn, and actually Dylan's got a really good run here. This is as close as he's been for a while.
This is as close, you're right, yeah.
He'll go to the outside.
But he needs to force Rob to hug that inside. Oh, actually, we've got a car off the track, haven't we? Is that going to cause any...
Rob's
no, he's stayed out of the way.
See, now, Dylan needs to be clever. Yeah, don't try and go round the outside. Stay as close as you can. Because we're about to come onto the final lap, I think. Yes, so it'll be white flag this time round.
Is there a battle for P10 as well? No, for P10.
We've got Craig right behind Andreas.
Let's have a look at Dylan, although that is a move, isn't it, for position?
Yeah.
As we see, yeah. Craig Yorney down 3s, but making 1 back. Can Wilcox? No, yeah, there's a move done, and that's a back marker in front. Back on board with Rob Baker. And this is Freckleton down the inside, and Rob will not like that, and that's... Oh, wow, okay. Rob will not like that one bit.
That, honestly, was a brilliant move.
Yeah, I mean, that was touring cars, wasn't it? That was door to door. Yeah, I think that was all right. I mean, we'll finish this lap, and then we'll have to have a look at that, because that was a good pass. Johnny Brandon crosses the line to take the victory. Started second. Reinhard Heibel taking the P3. Where's Jonathan Brown in all of that? I presume he's Steve Lavelle.
Gone through already.
That was Steve Lavelle crossing the line. Dylan does indeed get that 5th position to complete the top 5. Rob Baker, I mean, yeah, he's still up 2 positions. He's gained 25 I rating as well. Off tracks, I'm not too sure what they look like. I'm not sure about off tracks around this track. I know, is it turn 3 on exit? Can be a little bit.
It can be, yeah.
But it's quite generous, isn't it, compared to other sims?
Running through Chris Howard, Andreas Moore, shout out to him, up 10 spots. Chris Howard up 6 places. Craig had an eventful race, down 3. And that...
Tom Bridle in 7th. Should we see Tom further down than that? He's obviously made quite, a few positions back up, but starting 3rd is... I mean, I don't know if that's a success or just limited his damage, because he was at one point. I'm sure he's further back than 7th.
After being 13th, I think he was. That's a good recovery, but what could have been after starting P3.
Tom, take it away. Results.
Results. So Johnny Brandon, car number 1, finishes P1. Congrats to him. Jonathan Brown, nice improvement up from P5 to 2nd place. Reinhard Heibel, maybe slightly disappointed after starting on pole, but happy to come away with a podium, I am sure. Steve Lavelli in P4. Dylan Freckleton, that last lap pass that we will have a look at, gets P5. Rob Baker of Evo SR in P6. Tom Bridle, P7, Andreas Moore, P8, Chris M. Howard in P9, and Craig Yorney taking out P10.
Lovely stuff. Can we have a look at that pass that we saw Dylan make on Rob into...
Yes, of course we can.
That was last lap, wasn't it?
It was. Let me just... let me get rid of that. And let me go on to this. And let's wind that back slightly. So Dylan's going to get a really good run, and we're going to just put this in slow motion. That's Rob's first problem. Should have just stayed right. And he's left the door open, and Dylan is just going to now... And he's left the car's width, and Dylan is going to just go right... Oh,
I'll have that.
That is a cracking move.
And that's where they do make... You can see, actually, in the rear mirror, you could see a bit of contact, which does force Rob wide. But for me, it's touring cars. It's the last lap. No one's spun. It's actually quite difficult to spin these cars with the front-wheel drive, isn't it? And I think that's probably a 0x contact, if anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Rob showing some battle scars on the front of that that awful liveried Evo SR car. Yeah, great move by Dylan.
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say, because I love seeing our Evo SR cars up there, hats off to him. That was a great move. Really, really good move.
And he waited, didn't he? It was quite a few laps, probably, I don't know, 10 laps or something. Between 5 and 10 laps of just patiently waiting, putting Rob under pressure. And yeah, last lap, turn 1, made it stick. Sent Rob wide a little bit, and yeah, the rest is history. Grabs that 5th position, so good for him. And Rob, still having a good race. Could have been worse. There was that, first part of the race, we saw that huge pile up. 5 or 6 cars, a few cars facing the wrong way, which I think was, I'm not sure what caused that. Was that Tom Bridle that sort of got on the inside of...
So...
I need to have a look back at that. Because I know there was a guy off track as well, wasn't there? So, that's turn 1.
This is it. So we are going to go on board with...
I thought it was the end of the lap we saw. Or is it coming up?
No, so he's going to take a move.
Oh, yes. Sorry, yeah.
And they make contact there.
And then the grass comes into play, so no one can get it stopped on the grass.
And
that is actually Dylan, isn't it? That's making a
boom.
Yeah, so that's actually Dylan taking Rob out.
Yes,
of no fault of his own, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, both drivers recovering from this spin. Rob actually ended up doing a full 360, I think. Lucky for him.
Yeah, so here you go. It's going to be Tom up the inside. Dylan, I think, maybe squeezes him slightly. And I'm talking slightly. It's a racing incident. But they're very lucky. Well, Rob, I think, is really lucky that it hit his bumper, not the rear suspension.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
Who was that going through? Was that Jonathan... Steve Lavelle going through.
I'll tell you what,
in 4th,
let's have a look at this. Steve will have had a cracking view. And we'll just play this in full time. He's in P7. And then... Oh, no, that's...
Thank you, guys. That'll do. See you later.
That will do. So, he capitalised on that, got him up to P4.
Steve of XVR Sim Racing. And it's actually a really nice livery on that. I like the chrome effect on the side of the car. But yeah, Steve goes on to finish 4th in that race.
Just having a little look.
JW Sim Racing. Nice to watch my race fall apart with commentary after the race. Well, yeah, we're dissecting the race now. There was a couple of key moments in that, which I guess in some respect split the grid apart. We saw the opening 2 laps, was it, that were, you know, bumper to bumper, a long train of cars. But yeah, a couple of key points in that race that changed the outcome for a few.
Sorry, I missed who's commenting there.
So that's JW Sim Racing. So who could that be? JW. Do we have a JW?
Is it Tom?
I don't know. JW Sim Racing. Who are you? What's your name and where do you come from?
Could it be Dylan? Just trying to see. No.
We'll see if they respond.
JW Sim Racing.
Nice to watch my race fall apart with commentary after this. So is it someone further down? Jack Wilkins finished 16th. Lost 5 positions. There you are, Jack. If this is you, we think it's you. Give us a shout. Yeah. Where did so Jack started?
I think
started
Jack
11th, did he?
Yeah, he got involved in the crash.
Ah. Oh, well, can we rewind this then? Because obviously at some point he wasn't on the grass.
Here's Jack. What sort of?
So this car on the left that you see off, I thought this person could have.
So that's
spooked
Craig.
A few, but yeah,
he did. He spooked
Yeah, look, he's coming across. He's coming across, isn't he? So that forces
car Kim.
Yeah,
Kim Jakobsen had no reason to go across.
And if you
that
go
far.
on board with who's in the Wix car, if you got, I bet you wouldn't be able to see. No, maybe you would be able to see that car coming across. It's often where, you know, sort of blind spots
Neil.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously Neil's not looking left. Maybe he is. I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it?
I mean, Neil's not exactly got a lot of room, and you would say that Kim. Oh, I can see why he's gone right though.
Yeah.
If I play this,
that is a dreadful rejoin. Yeah. I mean, he's aiming for the. He's aiming for the racing line. Like, he's not staying off it, and actually gets caught up in that himself. So he's done himself no favors, has he?
No, I would. If Kim, if you're watching, I take that completely back, and I lay all the blame. And I don't mind doing this because I've been called out myself when I've made mistakes. Craig, you, my friend, have not covered yourself in glory.
You actually went on to finish 10th.
Just
above,
there,
Jack.
It was just. I mean, you've then turned. Yeah.
You should have just kept going left. You know.
Stay left. Yeah.
And then Jack.
Poor,
unfortunately, yeah. Jack
poor
just a sitting
Jack.
duck there. Yeah.
We'll pop you into your cockpit cam and watch the race go horribly wrong for you in slow motion. Craig's going at a snail's pace.
Oh dear, oh dear. You're probably
oh
thinking,
dear. I'm congrats on finishing the race, because I probably would have Alt F4'd that. I think you would have as well.
Dear.
Oh, who is that? Who is that making a break for it?
Ryan Sharp goes on to finish 15th.
Look at this.
Number 17. Does he lift? Listen. Oh, he does lift. At the final moment. He sees chaos ensuing in front of him. And he just thinks, you know what, I'm going to keep this planted. And yeah, lifts at the final moment, doesn't he? I wonder if that car's got enough damage to alter his steering. Looks all right. These cars are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the front of that car's seen better days, but yeah. He went full pelt into there and only lifted when he saw what we saw. Jack Wilkins, was it? Just in front of him.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was it, wasn't it? In terms of, unless we look at the very start of the race, which is actually very clean, wasn't it? I don't think we saw any real movers or shakers.
There was a little clip there.
Luckily,
That's
on
that's how
real drive.
Rob. Remember, we saw Rob managing to get up a few spots.
Yep.
So that was where he and Rob's going to give him a little nudge.
Let's watch this at full. Can we watch this at full speed? Because this is. I
Yep.
can't remember this. This is. But going into turn 1 as well. Although Dylan obviously quite a bit back at that point, wasn't he? Really. But we saw Dylan supremely quick through that final sector of this track.
Here we go. So we've got Tom on the inside. Steve gets a shove, and he's going to come back, and that's
Tax
Jonathan has had a little tap.
And then Rob's now pushing.
Pushing Dylan.
Yeah.
How's Rob going to get... Oh, Rob gets an undercut here. He's going to just be patient.
Sets the car up to the... Wow, that was close. Who was that going crazy deep into turn 1? I presume that person didn't make...
It's Harold!
Oh, Harold. Harold, my darling. What went on in your race? You could I mean, he was on to gain a lot, wasn't he? But he actually ended up losing 29 iRacing. So he's currently... He was starting the race on 447 iRacing.
Here he is. So Harold is going to swoop eventually when he gets the car
There is an
turned.
apex there somewhere.
He gets a great run off the corner. Look at this.
He's probably thinking, you know what? I reckon I can get 5 cars here in turn 1. And I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to be late on the brakes, guys. Just wait. Hang on a minute. Whoa!
I think I'm pretty sure if we rear chase this, you're going to see him clip the grass on the inside.
Is that a Hyundai livery? That's
Yes,
a
it
Hyundai.
He's going to send it up the inside. Dan Deere on the brakes, and no, he doesn't. He just hits a bump.
And that's Jonathan Brandon, isn't it? That?
Oh my word! I mean,
wow, he's threaded a needle there. He could have taken 3 or 4 cars with him at that, including himself.
See you later, Harold.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Harold.
Off he goes.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, there goes Harold into the kitty litter. He goes. Any more little incidents worth noting for the highlights package? I don't think so.
No, I mean, yeah, we saw, like I said, we saw some 2 or 3 key moments which changed the course of the race for a few folks. Harold trying his best to create a moment of destruction, but fortunately going through a gap there and not connecting with anyone. Luckily, what's this? We've got Rob Baker with Dylan closely behind. This is just going into turn 1. Then is this where we're going to see Harold emerging down the inside?
I don't think so, because Rob was pushing Dylan, and he's now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this must be not too long after that.
No, Rob Baker passed. So Rob gets Harold making his lunge for P, whatever it is, 6 at the time, and then Rob. That's how he gets past Dylan. Is he then just threads the needle up the hill?
And he had a good. Well, it was in that contact, wasn't it, where he did a 360, and I think he got away from Dylan a little bit. Dylan then closed the gap, good for him, and then that last lap move got him that 5th position.
Yeah.
Who's this? Oh, the famous iRacing turbulence affecting the
So
then, as we are now looking at the pit lane, Tom, we're back tomorrow night for VRS Top Split 8 p.m. race, or 8 p.m. UK GMT. Last week it was it Josh Thompson that went on to win? It was, if I remember rightly, and that was about 4.4k strength of field. So
I'm expecting higher.
Well, this is now the full Nürburgring, Nordschleife, everything put together, isn't it? The I can't pronounce the full layout of the track, but
I'll look up my German in time.
Starts with a G. So that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, I am thoroughly looking forward to that.
I mean, that's just a drive to survive, though, isn't it? Like, because, where are you going to make a move once you get out of that GP section of the... maybe we'll chat about it tomorrow night.
yeah.
Let's leave it for then.
That sounds like a brilliant idea, Mr. Salt. A brilliant idea.
Good. Yeah, that was me. Sorry, I was watching the beginning of the race. It was Jack Wilkins. Jack, we've had a look at all the footage involving yourself. Sorry, dude, about you sort of being collected by who was it? That it was the back marker coming onto track, which set everyone up for disaster. Sorry about that. Wishing you well in your next races. Hopefully, yeah, you have a better one than that. But as we were saying, we're going to end because we're back tomorrow night for Top Split VRS at the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, the full 16 odd miles of it. And I think we'll leave a lot of discussion there, Tom, and we'll chat about that tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Tom, and thank you everyone else for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, do drop us a subscribe. That would be hugely appreciated. And we will catch you guys tomorrow. Until then, have a good evening and good luck in your next races. Cheers. Bye-bye.